The Sky shooting 38%. Caitlin Clark, another three-pointer. 6 threes on the night.
Still buzzing off a game that had pundits and the crowd on fire, Caitlin Clark took her place at the platform. Out of words, she gracefully answered the typical questions, talking about her approach, her teammates, and her unstoppable performance. However, a reporter's unexpected remark ended the session just as it was coming to an end. It was a surprise, not a question. There was silence in the room. Her look said it all, and Clark froze. What precisely was said, then? And why was she stunned by it? Let's break it down. Stephen A. Smith's public confession to Caitlin Clark: the Indiana Fever had just defeated the defending champions, the Las Vegas Aces, 94-87. Directly on Gainbridge Fieldhouse, their home court, was a declaration, not just any victory. And leading that statement once, Caitlin Clark, a rookie sensation, was back. Her performance was electrifying. The numbers appear to be something like something from a video game. 28 points, including 6 deep threes, on a blistering 11 of 18 from the field. 38 non-stop minutes, 12 assists, 5 rebounds, and just 2 turnovers. There was more to this victory than just padding. With just a few weeks remaining in the season, it solidified Indiana's postseason place and attracted attention from all around the league. Even after the last whistle, the building was alive with activity. Reporters crammed into the post-match. There was a continuous rhythm of camera clicks in the press room, and the atmosphere was charged as if something unexpected was brewing. Clark arrived at the podium composed and attentive, answering the typical rush of questions with her now signature combination of humility and intensity. Holly Rowe of ESPN began by inquiring about Clark's growing on-court chemistry with Aaliyah Boston, particularly their deadly pick-and-roll play that destroyed the Aces' defense. In the paint for 18 points. With a calm smile, Clark remarked, "The trust is really building. Aaliyah has been understanding while I adapt to the professional game speed. We seem to be reading each other's thoughts tonight." But then there was a sudden change. Stephen A. Smith, an ESPN pundit known for his fiery views, is seated in the front row. And TV Antics at last held up his hand. He had been remarkably silent up until now, watching rather than controlling, which was unusual for someone like him. Seeing him, Clark nodded. "Go ahead, Stephen A.," she urged. He got up slowly, with a heavy, reflective quiet instead of frenzied movements or a loud voice. His tone was inconsistent with his brand. It was nearly heavier, deeper, and softer. The typing stopped, the room moved, and the cameras refocused. Even the PR team of the Fever froze. Mid-step. "I've been doing this for over 30 years, he said to Caitlin. "Every kind of player has been covered. You can envision. Legends, rookies, and failures have made a living by criticizing athletes when they fail to meet expectations. I earn a living doing this. However, observing you this season, observing how you've managed I had to reconsider a few things because of the pressure, the hype, and the learning curve." He stopped and rubbed his face in what appeared to like true feeling. "It wasn't a performance. I have something to express, openly and honestly. Something for which I must apologize." The whole room was motionless. The dilemma then arose, not a challenge, but a confession disguised as a question. How do you stay so composed and focused when individuals like me, particularly me, have occasionally been unjust, unduly critical, or even incorrect regarding your move to the WNBA? Caitlin Clark, who is usually composed under duress, was taken aback. The athlete who had faced boisterous road crowds, fierce Final Four contests. The unrelenting comparisons to her college statistics left her stunned. She spoke up, suddenly stopped. Her hands, which had moved with assurance when responding to previous inquiries, were suddenly motionless on the podium. At last, she muttered, "Wow, I don't even know what to say." Nalissa Smith and Kelsey Mitchell were already halfway down the corridor. Sensing the gravity of the situation, he halted and turned back toward the team. It was a unique, unvarnished professional moment. Sports, a famous athlete who was totally taken aback by an unexpected show of humility rather than a challenging question. And deference. "Stephen A., that means more than you probably realize," she said again, her voice trembling but steady. "Yes, the doubts, comparisons, and criticism have been difficult. However, it motivated me to put in more effort and show that I belong. Not only to the league, but also to my team and myself. She halted once more, but this time it was out of contemplation rather than shock. Even the most seasoned people were left feeling even more exposed by what Stephen A. said next. Reporters were stunned. What precisely did he disclose then? To find out, keep watching. Another shocking revelation from Stephen A. Smith. Admission regarding Caitlin Clark. Stephen A. Smith sat motionless, his countenance unusually serious. Then he took out some folded sheets of paper from inside his blazer with a calm hand. They weren't polished or typed. These were authentic, handwritten, and unpolished. It was evident that what was concerning had not been spontaneous. This was more than simply another sports analysis. It was a deeper, more profound reckoning. And it was felt by everyone in the room. Smith said, "There's something I need to say," in a more subdued tone. "And since I publicly criticized someone, I must express it that I've created remarks that weren't quite impartial or even fully educated, and now I have to identify them." He looked at the papers, looked straight ahead, and started reading. 3 months ago, I initially thought that Caitlin Clark was overhyped. Accused our business and ESPN of exaggerating her fame in order to increase viewership. I told her that she still had a long way to go. Demonstrated that her success in college did not equate to her ability to deal with the pros. The media mirrored his remarks. Space. Some reporters had set down their phones. Erica Wheeler and Aaliyah Boston, two of Clark's Indiana colleagues, stood silently at the rear. They had no intention of making a statement. They were just there, captivated by the sudden feeling, unraveling before their eyes. Smith went on, "I used reasoning and statistics to support my position, but my tone. I delivered it in a contemptuous manner. I failed to notice what she had already done, how she had altered the entire environment surrounding the WNBA in a matter of weeks." Smith's voice became more steady, louder, more deliberate now. "Since then, I've discovered that Caitlin Clark is averaging 19.5 points and 8.4 assists per game during her rookie campaign. In her debut season, Diana Taurasi averaged just 17 points. Sue Bird, only 14.4. Clark's figures aren't merely strong. They have a long history." He went beyond the numbers. "Attendance increases by over 50% when Indiana plays. Ratings on TV? Her jersey sales have tripled, more than 200% higher. Beyond the commercial aspect, however, it's her disposition. Her composure, the way she prioritizes her teammates over herself, and the way she consistently comes up for this league." The space appeared to be frozen. Even seasoned reporters listened instead than typing. Smith's voice carried an emotion that was impossible to overlook. "Caitlin, I was mistaken about you. It is incorrect to mistrust your effect or your preparedness. I sincerely apologize to you, the league, and our audience for holding you to antiquated standards." The room changed at that point. Like fireworks, flashbulbs went off. Leaning forward, reporters recorded every word. Holly Rowe of ESPN wiped away tears while making notes on her notepad. Typically stoic, Adrian Wojnarowski was using his phone to record, had a gut feeling that this was history. Sue Bird even got to her feet, clapping gently at first, then with greater conviction. Others soon joined production teams, media personnel, and even fever workers. It was now a moment rather than a press conference. Aaliyah Boston approached the podium and put a hand there gently on the shoulder of Clark. Caitlin was still silent. Emotion filled her eyes. Her chest steadily rose and fell, attempting to interpret the scenario that was taking place all around her. Then everyone looked at her. How would she respond? Would his apology be accepted by her? Would she confront him? Would she weep? The room held its breath after that, awaiting Clark's reply. Even the most experienced journalists were taken aback by what she did next. Watch as we reveal every detail. Caitlin Clark responds with a strong message. Took a breath, her voice still full of emotion but now firmer and more steady. "I don't need an apology from you." With her eyes fixated on Stephen A. Smith, she spoke. "We are meant to be challenged by the media. IT is meant to push, to evaluate, to ensure that we are meriting our position. That pressure is a necessary aspect of the work. The most important thing to me is not that you used to have doubts about me, but now you're standing here admitting that the facts have changed your mind. It takes courage to be so honest." Her remarks didn't simply reverberate off the walls. Instead, they settled in the space. She carefully looked around at the other reporters, many of whom had inquired about her early difficulties during the difficult beginning of her career in the WNBA. Her eyes were clear and devoid of resentment. She said, "To be honest, I became enraged by the criticism. In order to prove to myself that I could hang with the best, it forced me to work more and dig deeper. That at this level, I may have an influence." The transition from college to the professional ranks was difficult, but I was confident that I would succeed. At that point, the press conference's tone changed. What had started off as a standard post-game Q&A now seemed more significant. Discussion about the changing landscape of women's basketball, about pressure, and about media accountability. Everyone could sense that it had become personal. Sitting quietly in the back, Adrian Wojnarowski raised his hand. He talked with a remarkable gentleness and was well known for his breaking news scoops. "Caitlin, in reference to what Stephen, how do you think the way women's basketball is covered in the media has evolved since you moved here? What are your expectations for the future?" Clark was slow. After giving a contemplative nod, she replied, "It's changed a lot, and for the better. Now, there is a lot more coverage. More fans, more cameras, and more young females who think this may be their future. That is enormous. However, more attention also entails increased pressure. And although it's not always a negative thing, only when the critique is impartial and knowledgeable will it be beneficial." She glanced back at Smith for a moment. "That is the aspect of today that I admire." Stephen A's remarks demonstrate his development and attentiveness. "The game of women's basketball is more complex than that of men's. We are constructing something new. It's quicker, more intelligent and unique. IT requires coverage that takes that into account. We don't require generic feedback. People who understand what makes this time historic are what we need." Former WNBA player Rebecca Lobo is now an ESPN analyst, bending forward. Her voice gave the mixture an additional level of expertise. "You've been referred to as the face of a rebirth of the WNBA. It's a heavy label. How have you managed to bear that burden?" No longer taken aback, Clark grinned. "To be honest, I never intended to be the public face of anything. However, you have the ability to either break or rise when you sense pressure." She hesitated. But there was no debate about what came next. T was the unexpected letter. However, who authored it? And what did it show that made Caitlin fight back tears?